it's important that we reach out and help every family in Illinois, and this legislation will do that. Whether you have somebody who's older in your family and they may have Alzheimer's and perhaps they could wander away, or we have a young child with autism, it's important that we be able to locate everyone at every time. And we're using technology with this bill to help locate those who need to be found and to make sure they're safe and sound. I was just reading some of the notes that the number one cause of death for children with autism is drowning. They sometimes can get lost and get in a place they shouldn't be, or they can't handle a situation. And it's important that we have the technology available that can help locate someone who may be lost, older or younger. And so cognitive impairment, as it's called, is very, very important that we understand that we have to, in our society, take good care of everyone. Everyone's in and no one's left out. That's my philosophy, and that's really, I think, a good philosophy for our whole state of Illinois. And the great thing about this bill is it really involved Democrats and Republicans, House members and Senate members working together as a team. And there's just no stopping Illinois when we work as a team. There's always going to be politics, but there's a time and place for that. But also there's a time and place for bipartisanship, for working together, for the common good. That's where Illinois is at its best, in my opinion. And I think that's how most people look at it. And the bill that we're signing today is a tribute to teamwork and to democracy. We're very, very fortunate to live in a democracy. We should thank God every day for the fact that we live in the United States of America. We just had the 4th of July on Monday, and it celebrates our democracy, that people come together, work together, pass laws. The people pass the laws through their elected representatives, and the governor signs them, and as I am today. But it is very important, I think, with these bill signing ceremonies, that we use the opportunity to celebrate democracy and also educate the public to an important new advance, reform that'll make life better for lots of people, lots of families. So
this bill is about safety for some of our most vulnerable citizens, and it's also about peace of mind for families so that they know that they have all the resources of 911 at their services to help find our vulnerable citizens should they become disoriented or wander off. Our laws actually prevented this, that we didn't have access to the 911 services. So as the new chairman of the House Telecommunications Committee, I was so pleased when Mayor DeCiani, who I've worked with on other pieces of legislation to help autistic children and autistic families, when he brought it up to me, I think it was over a year ago, and I said, oh yes, I'm all over this. I will help you. I would like to be the chief sponsor and make sure that this great idea does become law, which it will today. So using telecommunications, the people who worked on this, I know that there was a model here in Elmhurst, and just last week in my hometown of Highland Park, several of the parents of cognitively disabled children had suggested that the city do more to help identify them and to help public service personnel identify them and know that they might need help. And they called me to City Council. The mayor realized about this new law. So, Mayor, I hope you will share your experience of the public-private partnership you put together already to do things like this with the rest of the municipalities throughout the state. And Governor, I thank you for your commitment, and this public signing does build awareness of some of the great laws that we put together. A lot of people just like to look at the downside, but under your leadership, we do keep the state moving forward with important legislation like this. So thank you to everyone for all their support, our bipartisan support for this bill. Thank you.
4 years ago on a Saturday morning, we were having a typical Saturday morning. I was upstairs and my husband was downstairs with Emmett, and a few minutes turned into a nightmare for us. My husband came upstairs and asked, as he had asked me a million times before, is he with you? And I said no. And I immediately headed for the door, as well as my husband. He grabbed his keys, I grabbed a pair of flip-flops, and I took off down the street. As I started running, he started driving, and as I ran down the street, I immediately called out to my neighbors, many of whom are here, and everyone dropped what they were doing and went looking. James was gone. James, by the way, is here. He's wandering around. He's with my husband. He's got a red striped shirt on, so you can see what a typical day is for us. Wandering is a true issue with children with autism. We're blessed to live on a street with neighbors who have become our dear, dear friends, and doubly blessed to live in a community that cares. As I rounded the corner, I ran into a convenience store, and I said, "Have you seen my son?" And people stopped and started looking. And then I ran into the fire station on York Road. "My son is lost." And I started to run some more down York Road. And I was stopped by police officials. Officer Dennis, who is right over there, was there with us that day. "Go home, Mrs. O'Brien," they told me. "We need you at home for when we find him." 2 hours and 14 minutes, the longest 2 hours of our lives. And I heard stories for days afterwards of friends who were gathered in a fast food restaurant when a paramedic came in yelling that a child was lost with autism and he couldn't speak. A couple down the street stopped their garage sale, found a picture of James and photocopied it and started handing it down in downtown Elmhurst. My dear neighbor who went to Salt Creek and prayed he wouldn't find James. And the kids who drove their bikes up and down the prairie path and stopped everyone asking if they had seen James. Just as the county bloodhound dogs started on their trek from our house, a lovely Jewel employee who happened to be a special ed major at Elmhurst College spotted James in the DVD aisle with a bag of cheese puffs. She knew he was special needs immediately and that he shouldn't be alone. And 2 hours later, he was found. Thank God for this neighborhood, and thank God for our neighbors and for our mayor, who listened when I asked him afterwards that we need to find a GPS system to help find our kids. You have given our family and many families of kids with autisms and other disorders and adults with Alzheimer's some peace of mind today.